Hey everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm playing in the Tier 8 French premium autoloading medium tank. It is the Bourrasque, and the statistics are in, and the vehicle is one of the most influential Tier 8 premium tanks in the game right now, at least in the medium bracket. This vehicle has a better win ratio than any of the other freely available premium medium tanks at Tier 8. Or even the tech tree tanks. Now, that's going to be a given, right? So this tank only really competes with regards to win ratio on the European server with the gold Type 59. But let's be fair, the kind of players who picked up the gold Type 59 are a little bit long in the tooth and a little bit long in the wallet, with I think the bidding starting at about 40,000 gold the last time it was available. However, the Bourrasque was freely available to grind inside the mission marathon or to be able to just pick up at some kind of a meaty discount. Now, I'm playing on my Plays for Free account, and immediately I'm sure a lot of you are asking, well, how do you have a premium tank on your Plays for Free account? Oh yeah, I've grinded through pretty much all of the mission marathons since I started the account a couple of years ago now, and been able to get to stage 10, complete stage 10, thus getting the vehicle for free. I never use premium consumables on this account, and I hardly fire premium rounds. That's the whole purpose of the account, is to try and see what you can do in World of Tanks. Fair enough, in this case, with a lot of time on your hands, but without having gold and spending things on things that are just extravagantly expensive inside the game with regards to credits that you're probably not going to be able to afford unless you have an active premium account. So the Bourrasque, why is it so dominant inside World of Tanks? Well, it's got to be this double tap gun on the vehicle. The fact that it's able to just put a 360 shell followed by another 360 shell, 2 seconds on the intra-clip reload, means that you're bursting out 720 damage within those 2 seconds. Now, the gun handling on the vehicle is pretty darn horrific. Well, actually, I correct myself. The gun handling is not too bad. It's actually got 0.1 dispersion when moving and 0.1 dispersion when turning the turret. That's not too shabby, and when you use something like vertical stabilizers, yeah, the vehicle's going to be doing pretty good. However, it's the aiming time on this tank that is truly horrific, with 3.5 seconds base. So it does take an extraordinarily long time to be able to fully aim this vehicle in. A lot of people would be liking to take a gun lane drive on this tank. However, really, are you going to want to drop coated optics, and are you going to want to drop vents when the base view range at 390 means that you're really going to start to hamper in on your ability to see opponents at decent distances unless you have every crew skill at your disposal and probably using a premium consumable? And this is really where the tank is just so unbelievably strong. What was that Type 58 ever really going to do against us? Other Tier 8 premium tanks take far longer to be able to burst down their targets. And so it doesn't matter if you're not the fastest vehicle. It doesn't matter if you have the best gun depression. You've got 6 degrees on this vehicle. And also you don't have pretty much any armor to boot, with 20 millimeters of side armor, meaning that you're going to get overmatched by pretty much every single gun that you are going to meet, because you just get into position, and it's like a mini bat chat at Tier 8. It's this little assassin that wants to get places, put in a double tap, and if you miss the first shell, well, at least you've got the second one to back you up as well, which is very useful indeed. And so that's what's leading the Bourrasque to just be oh so strong. And it is actually my best performer on my free-to-play account. Albeit it is a premium tank on a free-to-play account, there's a bit of a cross-statement there, but I've explained the reason why I've been able to achieve this tank. And if you can get your hands on it, I think it's absolutely dominant. If you are the kind of player who knows how to play autoloaders, if you're the kind of player who knows how to use vision, who knows how to use mobility to be able to outplay their opponents, it's just an absolute tour de force on the battlefield. It's actually my best performer on my free-to-play account. And when I'm also playing it on my main account, where I've got all of the luxury of crew skills and good consumables, the vehicle's even more dominant there. On my free-to-play account, I'm actually managing to average 70% wins solo in this tank. And on my main account, I'm averaging about 75% wins, or maybe 73% wins, give or take, on the day, solo in the Bourrasque. That's just wild to be able to win so many games by just purely just dealing so much damage, providing so much spotting, or importantly, having all of the statistics that you need to be able to turn a close game in your team's favor. And during the most recent mission marathon, to be able to get the CS52 lease, I definitely relied on this vehicle when the going got tough. When I was trying to grind through the marathon and you know, you've had a few bad beats, or maybe some people are trying to focus you and you've had a few dodgy games. Playing this vehicle as a bit of a break from some of the stock tech tree tanks like the T-54 that I was playing during the mission marathon was a breath of fresh air. Alright, so we're in a fairly close game here, even though we've managed to pick up 4 kills against the enemy team, although we haven't really done too much damage. But you'd expect that in a matchup like this when you're playing against tier 6 and tier 7 tanks. When you're able to pretty much burst off the hit points off a tier 6 vehicle in 2 seconds, yeah, you're going to be getting kills without necessarily doing a large amount of damage to the enemy team. So in this situation, I've got to be worried about the fact that the Oni and the SU-100M1 have not been spotted, and where are they going to be? Well, it's likely that they're going to be pushing towards my cap circle, this T-52 as well. And I have a Scorpion G on my team who's actually following me back to be able to provide a nice little bit of support. And, spoilers, we're going to have some pretty good teamwork between us, and you're just going to have to check it out as the game goes on. Now, the Scorpion G's name in-game is Tomic 1972, although I'm going to reveal them as using the anonymizer like I do on both of my accounts, and their real name is the Lone Gunman. So I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be remembering the Lone Gunman every single time, but I'm going to try my best. If I call them Tomic, they're the Lone Gunman. If I call them the Lone Gunman, that's the Scorpion G on my team as well, just so I can set the scene. So we went back to base to deal with the T-52, and funnily enough, the Oni and the SU-100M1 actually went back to defend their base as well. And so what this means is that we kind of overinvested and we got distracted by the T-52. I feel like it was the right play because there could have been 3 tanks taking our cap circle and clearly would have to deal with that or would be losing the game in about half a minute. But what it actually meant is that because the enemies went back as well, we got distracted by a little tier 6 light tank, and unfortunately our team has now been ripped apart by the enemy, and we are now in a 2 versus 5 situation. So SU-130PM slightly above me, and that shell didn't actually look like it hit the tank. Look, I'm not going to complain. In a situation where you're 2 versus 5, if RNG throws you an extra 380 damage and puts the cheeky tier 8 premium Soviet tank destroyer down to a 1-shot, well, that's a good result. So you can see immediately, I'm starting to communicate with the Lone Gunman. I'm asking him to fall back into position. He actually bounces a shot off the Oni, and this is where I'm going to use the rock on my left to protect me from any people up on the hill, and I'm going to put a quick, cheeky double tap into the Oni, and that forces the Oni to turn the turret to the side, which allows the Lone Gunman to be able to finish him off. So, quite ironic, the name now, the Lone Gunman, right? Maybe we're going to have to change that up, bud. Well, maybe the thing is in World of Tanks, it's super important to try and figure out how you can work with solo players as well, and how solo players can come together to be able to synergize and to put together teamwork. And you're going to actually see here that me and the Lone Gunman actually have fantastic communication. I'm telling him I'm driving into position. I'm asking him to hold his position because I'm going to flank. What I don't want to do right now is I don't want to just drive up that slope towards where the SU-130 was probably going to be camping up on the hill. But by driving all the way around the back, instead of driving through this death trap here where I'm most likely going to get killed, by venturing forth, flanking and going over the bridge, that means that I'm going to be able to get into the bush line here, or alternatively make my way slowly around this corner and hopefully be able to spot from here and spot for the Lone Gunman who's setting up shop with his tier 8 German turreted tank destroyer in this location. Okay, so I've made it into position now, and the Lone Gunman has actually told me that there's a warning. I'm asking him which bush. The warning, I guess maybe he took a hit from either the SU-130 or maybe even from the SU-101, and he actually manages to find the SU-130PM solo, which is huge. So now our 2 versus 5 has been changed into a 2 versus 3. So I put a premium round, my first premium round of the game, into the top of the SU-100M1, and right now I'm thinking, should I reload or should I save the shell? The SU-130PM on the enemy team could barge around the corner and I won't be able to hit him. I'm asking, well, I won't be able to finish him off with only having 1 remaining shell. I'm asking the Lone Gunman, can you hit the target? And he says, no rock. So obviously it's the rock in position just here that's stopping him from being able to finish off the SU-100. But I was unable to see that from my position here, as Wargaming have changed this map at least fairly recently to make it more defensive in that scenario. And the SU-100M1 is definitely using it. Alright, so I decide to pull back thinking, do I have time to flank? And then I figure out, probably not. I probably got to try and spot for the lone gunman. So I tell him again that I'm on my way into position and I can take a hit from this SU-100M1. He actually managed to spot me, but he doesn't fire. And you can see that the lone gunman is actually closing position while I am. So this is creating a beautiful pincer maneuver. And I figure out the SU is probably turning around to hit the lone gunman. So I'm going to be able to make my way in and I'm going to be able to finish him off. Now, luckily for me, even though the SU hits me there and does 278 damage to me, the Hummel doesn't manage to finish me off. But by going into that position, I still put lone gunman into a scenario which I thought that he might be able to handle. And he manages to finish off the Hummel. I tell him I'm reloading. He says, "You clip, right?" He asks if I should. He says he actually volunteered to go in and take the hit, but I felt like I had the hit points to be able to take it as well. So I'm telling him now that I'm going to flank. I'm going to be able to go all the way around and then trying to dig the SU off the hill. But oh my lord, the SU's right here! Luckily, the SU actually misses his shell. I'm going to put one into his tracks, and right now I've got to decide, what am I going to do? Okay, track him twice. Try and turn the tank, try and turn the tank, try and get round the side of the gun. And oh, unfortunately, the SU manages to finish me off. But luckily for me, the lone gunman races into position and finishes off the SU-130 PM and carries our team across the finish line in an absolute nail-biter when only one tank remains. So immediately after the battle, I contacted the player who I thought was Tomic1972, but clearly found that they were using the anonymizer, and there is the lone gunman. I was so happy with this game. During the mission marathon, you know, World of Tanks really tests your patience. And the lack of teamwork, the lack of those epic kind of close call games towards the latter part, as you slowly find your will to play this game grinded away from you, really wears you thin. And so this game really topped me up. Immediately I say, wow, GG, we got them. You played great and communicated really well. I sound like an absolute, you can tell how much this game meant to me. I say, GG, well played. And so the lone gunman says, TY, really well played, teamwork there, GG mate. And that's one of the reasons why I still love to play this game. It's those close battles. It's the fact that it's not like a solo game necessarily all the time, World of Tanks, and it's definitely much better with friends, and especially if you can make those unexpected friends in the battle. And Wargaming's new communication system inside the battle, I think, is helping that. But one thing I would say, Wargaming, I'd really like to have affirmative and negative come back into the game, because there's no way to currently tell somebody quickly, no, I'm not going to do that. I have to deal with something else that maybe they haven't seen. So I'd really like to see those features also come back. But it's definitely a step in the right direction, being able to tell your team where you're going on the minimap. And with the lone gunman here, yeah, it definitely worked out. So this was a first class medal for the Bourrasque. It's quite hard to get an ace tanker in this vehicle, as 1,317 was not enough. We dealt 4,000 damage and got 6 kills, and the lone gunman got 3,500 damage and 5 kills. Wow, talk about destroying about 70% of the enemy team just between us. And yeah, when you're not using premium consumables and you only fire a couple of premium rounds throughout the entire game, you're going to make some profit, right? We made 155,000 credits profit here for using a credit booster while we played the Bourrasque on our free-to-play account. Although at the time, we got some premium time for free from the mission marathon as well. It's definitely a great time to put that extra time in during those mission marathons on any premium vehicles you have, as you can get credit boosters and you can get the premium time to really maximize your credits. So there you have it, ladies and gents. It's good to have teamwork and unexpected friends back on this channel. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, but if you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And if you're watching this video as it goes live on Sunday, it's time for the World of Tanks Tech Tree Showcase. And this week, I've decided that I want to play some Soviet heavy tanks. And so I'm going to be grinding my way up the Soviet tech tree towards the recently buffed IS-4, so we can experience all of the buffs that have happened to that tech tree to see if it's actually worth making your way up now. So come along, I'm going to play from tier 1 to tier 10 so you can see what it's all about, and maybe I can help you out with a few tips and tricks along the way. So I'm really looking forward to seeing all of you right now on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.